Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. So today we will be doing my manga I've been reading recently part 2 video. I did part 1 like over a month ago at this point, and it's so funny because the whole point of me doing these manga I've been reading recently videos was so that I could catch up and then be able to get back on a monthly schedule of reading logs. But yeah, so today is going to be mostly digital reads, as the previous segment was mostly my physical reads. So one of the big standouts for this video will be Attack on Titan, which is something I had binged pretty recently being a couple months ago. But stay tuned because I have a lot of things to say about that series, and of course I have a lot to say about a bunch of other series. As usual, the timestamps will be left down below so you can navigate, because I know not everyone likes every series that I will be discussing. So yeah, let's get into it with a couple dropped series for this month. The first dropped series this month was actually Blue Period. I read the first 3 volumes of it. I've spoke about the first volume at some point and the second volume at some point on my channel, and like I've been pretty lukewarm about the series each time. Like I liked volume 1 enough to get volume 2, I liked volume 2 enough to get volume 3, but at this point I'm still feeling pretty lukewarm about it, and I don't think I need to be financially or like physically taking up space on my shelf for a series that I am only lukewarm about. So I ultimately decided to drop it. I'm not really sure why I feel this way about it. Like, while I was reading volume 3, it's not like I had to take breaks or anything. Like, I read it all the way through, it kept my attention. But after I finish, it's not like I think very much about Blue Period, I guess. And that's not to say I think it's a bad series. I think that it does a really great job of like encapsulating how much dedication and effort it really takes to pursue art as a career, and I really respect it for that. And I love Yatora, he's the main character. He's my favorite character in the series, and so I really do hope that he achieves great things in the future chapters. But for now, I think I will have to put Blue Period on the back burner. I have kind of like read into like what happens in the future, because that's what I usually do when when I decide that I want to drop a series. I usually just kind of spoil myself to see what happens in the future. And like I'm mildly interested to maybe pick it up in the future once it's like closer to completion, because I do know that like the timeline spans pretty widely. Like right now he's in high school, and we do see him like more into his adulthood, so I'm very curious about that. But yeah, I think I recommend Blue Period for anyone who is interested in it. Like I don't think it's a bad series, but I don't think it's for everyone. Like I've heard a couple of other people have had to drop Blue Period, so yeah, that is my thoughts on Blue Period. Maybe I will revisit it in the future, maybe I won't. We will see. So the next series that I dropped this month, I didn't really drop it, it's more of like on hold, is Our Precious Conversations. I read like the first volume and some change because I was reading scans, and then the scans ran out. Like there was no more after a certain point because it got officially licensed, but there's no physicals for it, and it's like I don't know what I want to do when it comes to like digital manga. Like I don't know if I want to buy them, like I don't know what platform I want to buy them on or anything. Like Kodansha had a website and it had like a list of like 10 different places you could buy Our Precious Conversations, and it overwhelmed me, so then I decided to just drop it because I didn't love it. I liked it a lot though. So basically, Our Precious Conversations follows our main 2 characters. There's a boy and a girl, and the girl confesses her love to the boy, and the boy is he is quite blunt about things and pretty realistic about things. So he was kind of like offset by the fact that she was confessing her feelings to him. And so they have this weird banter back and forth. They meet at the train station every once in a while, and they just kind of sit there and have a precious conversation. Some of these precious conversations in question were quite enforcing gender roles, I guess. Like the girl would be like, oh, why do boys do this? And then the boy would be like, well, girls do this. Why are all girls like this? And it's like, it got a little old after a while. That's kind of why I say like I liked it but didn't love it. the banter was funny, but then it kept going, and I was like, okay. But then, like, in the middle of, like, volume 2, I guess, they started to kind of chat on campus with each other, which was really interesting, and then I ran out of scans. So one day I would like to revisit this, but I'm just still trying to decide what I want to do with, like, legally reading digital manga. So let me know what you guys do when it comes to digital manga, because I'm not sure. So the next series that we will be talking about is also in progress, and that is QQ Sweeper. So fun fact, actually, a few months ago, maybe like 4 to 5 months ago, I actually read Dengeki Daisy, which is like the mangaka's like most popular work, I would say. I read it half because it's pretty highly regarded in the shoujo community. For example, Nana's Dreams here on YouTube, this is her favorite series, Dengeki Daisy, so I wanted to read it for that reason. Like, I like to read the all-time favorite series of like people that I have strong, like, I agree with their opinions on other things, just so that like I can kind of see where they're coming from, I guess. And Dengeki Daisy actually really surprised me. It is an age gap, so like I don't really reach out for age gaps very often, or like if the premise is good enough, or like if there's other things about it that distract from the fact that it's an age gap, then I usually push through. And Dengeki Daisy has a lot of like mystery elements with it, as well as the romance, so like it somehow worked for me, and I really enjoyed it. I can't lie, I didn't finish it. Like, it got a little bit stale halfway through, but the first half was excellent, so like I can't knock them for that. So I halfway did it as well because I wanted to kind of get an idea of the mangaka's like vibes in their series, like if I would enjoy Queen's Quality from Dengeki Daisy. And ultimately I decided to give QQ Sweeper a try since I liked Dengeki Daisy so much. And I will say that QQ Sweeper, like, I think it has a lot of the same elements as Dengeki Daisy, in like the protagonists remind me of each other, like Fumi and Teru like kind of remind me, they resemble each other to me. And I think that the skinship between the main couples is tasteful in the same way that it was with Teru and I forgot his name in Dengeki Daisy. Him. Kurosaki, yeah. Them two, their like skinship is pretty similar to Teru and this guy, Kyutaro's skinship. And the comedic timing is pretty similar as well. Dengeki Daisy had some really funny moments, and I feel like QQ Sweeper also has those same type of funny moments. So yeah, I just think that like the mangaka really like went back to the shop and improved on all of the things that made Dengeki Daisy so excellent in QQ Sweeper. And it has this backdrop of like it's like more of a fantasy type of vibe where they are using kind of cleaning as the base to fighting monsters in this alternate dimension type of vibe, and that's really cool. I feel like QQ Sweeper is also kind of filling the void for like magical girl-esque series. I know obviously Kyutaro's not a magical girl, he's a boy, but like it gives me the same vibes, and we've been missing that from shoujo for quite a while at this point, so it was a very welcome surprise. Yeah, QQ Sweeper is really excellent, so I ultimately did buy it. Since I read the first volume online, I ended up buying the rest of it. The thing is, the first volume of QQ Sweeper is actually out of stock. It's been out of stock forever because I've been thinking about reading QQ Sweeper forever, and it's been out of stock this whole time, and it's still out of stock. But I did order it, so like when it does come into stock, I should be able to get it like almost immediately, but it's still really frustrating because it is such a great series, and I feel like Viz is really blocking a lot of people from getting into it because the first volume's out of stock. How do you expect people to get into it if the first volume is out of stock? So I ordered volumes 2 and 3 of QQ Sweeper, and then for Queen's Quality, I will have volume 1 and volume 3, and volume 2 of Queen's Quality is in the same position as volume 1 of QQ Sweeper. I will eventually read more of it. I'm kind of waiting around to see if they'll eventually reprint it at some point. But if it takes too long, then I'm just gonna go ahead and read, and I'll have to read digitally whenever I can't have the physical. But that is QQ Sweeper. I highly recommend it. You might have to go sailing the seas for it, but I recommend it. The next series that we will be talking about, we are finally getting into the completed series category for the video today, and this is the only physical read. I like how I said it's digital reads, but I have a physical read with me. Don't think about the semantics of it all, okay? So my first completed series for this video is Solanin. It is just this one volume. It's 29 chapters, and just in 29 chapters, it has completely changed my life. I'm going to be pretty brief on this because I don't think I'm emotionally strong enough to discuss the series in full without wanting tears to come out of my eyes, and I don't think we're at that level yet. You feel me? We don't know each other like that yet, so you'll have to catch me on another day when I'm slipping. But yeah. So the brief synopsis is that we follow our main protagonist, Meiko, and she's a recent college grad, and she is feeling really stagnant in her life because working in an office can make you feel that way. And then she quits her job and a lot of other things happen, but I like this series because the characters are very realistic in the fact that they're not like extraordinarily special. Like, a lot of manga series have these characters where it's like, oh yeah, like my parents died and now I am super optimistic about things and I can do anything and I can rule the world. When it's like, it's very grounded in reality, and I think that the way that characters react to things that happen in the series is very grounded in reality. So I don't want people to be deterred from it based on the fact that I said that it makes me want to cry to think about, because it's not sad in the same way as like Goodnight Poon Poon, which is by the same author, and Goodnight Poon Poon is not beating the like depressing allegations ever. Like, everyone talks about how you need to be in the right headspace for that. I don't think you need to be like in the right headspace for this, but I will say that I felt very called out by a lot of the themes of this, and that is why it makes me emotional. But I highly recommend, if you are like somebody who is also a recent college grad and is floating through life, not really sure what their purpose is or anything, I think that this really captures the essence of that age range and like the feelings that come with it very well. Highly recommend. Did I say it's in my top 10 yet? Yeah, it's in my top 10. The next completed series that I completed this month was Mars, which is a classic shoujo series. I finally tackled it. I feel like it's not something I would have normally reached out for, just because I don't really like the good girl, bad boy types of tropes in my romance or just media in general. But I've seen a lot of people recently talk about it and get into it, specifically Colleen I follow on Twitter, and they were like getting deep into it. And so then that was around the time that I also got deep into it, and they actually made a video essay specifically on Mars that I really recommend if you're interested in knowing more about the series. I think that they're way more well-spoken than I am, and they explain things, and they're gonna go deeper into Mars itself, so I recommend that. But if you want to stay with me and watch me talk about Mars, I'll give you a quick synopsis that I think will do a better job of explaining it than Amazon did. You can read it on the Amazon thingy. If you have Prime, you can read the entire series of Mars for free on there, which is really cool because it is completely out of print and will never be coming back into print. So, cool. The synopsis. Basically, we have our main two characters. We have Rei and we have Kira. So, Rei is like a delinquent character. He does standard delinquent things, skips school, goes and sleeps around with a lot of women, has run-ins with the cops, you know, the usual delinquent behavior. He's also very deep into motorcycle racing. That's like one of his biggest passions in life. And then on the other hand, we have Kira, who is a very shy, reserved girl, but she's also extremely talented in art and painting. So one day they cross paths when Rei asks Kira for directions to the hospital, and she ends up like sketching him a little map of how to get to the hospital, but on the backside of the paper was actually like a legitimate sketch, and Rei was really impressed by this and wanted to get to know more about Kira. So then they partner up as Kira paints Rei as a model for one of her exhibits, I think, and that's like how it starts. and then you just kind of see them like develop as people, as individuals, and also together. And I just think that it was done really well. One thing I find really interesting about shoujo series is that whenever somebody really likes a shoujo series, they always have to start with a disclaimer like, oh, this isn't your average shoujo series. Like, it's so much different and more well refined than like other shoujo. But like, I feel like Mars is so quintessentially so shoujo that I cannot fathom that people even say that about it. Like, from the melodrama to like the way the atmospheric paneling is done and the romance development, like it is so shoujo. Like, how do you not see that? But that's neither here nor there. Once again, it completely exceeded my expectations. Like, again, I'm not one for the like, oh, he's a bad boy but I can change him type of tropes, because that's burned me in my real life, and I know that that's not how the real world works. And I hope that there's nobody that reads these series and thinks that that's how the real world works, because it doesn't. But yeah, I also wasn't expecting to like Kira as much as I do. Like, I was expecting, I don't know, to be lukewarm on her, but I actually ended up really relating to her in a lot of ways. I don't know if that's a bad thing. Like, I don't know if that makes me a villain, but I ended up really relating to her, and like I think she gets a good amount of depth. I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more of depth for her, but I think because I can relate to her in some ways, like I've just kind of gave her depth myself. Like, I projected onto her, I guess, maybe. But yeah, I really like her. On the flip side of that, I actually was expecting to like Ray more than I actually ended up liking him. I think it's because, like, I don't know, like I said, I relate to Kira a lot, so like when she was in her like I hate men era, I was also there with her. Like, I understand where she's coming from, and the way that Ray pushes certain buttons was really uncomfortable to read sometimes. Another thing, one thing that he did was that he dropped the F slur at another character in the series, and like I know that it's the 90s and like things were different, times have changed, but I just found it a bit harsh. That was the first thing he did that irked me. And then he did another thing, which was during Kira's character arc. He pushed her in some ways that I was not comfortable with, and like even I was sitting there thinking like, why did you do that? Like, why did you do that thinking that was going to help? Like, she has trauma related to a thing, and then you do that thing that gave her trauma? How do you expect to get answers out of her from that? Like, I just didn't like that part at all. In general, like, I like Ray for the most part. I ended up coming around to him a lot towards the end of the series, but like, yeah, I mean, like, he's a bad boy and he does bad things. Like, I don't know what I was expecting from him, but I don't know. That's just my little iffy thing when it comes to Mars. But other than that, I really, really enjoyed it. One thing I really like about Mars is that how the atmosphere is so, like, 90s. Like, to the way that they're dressing, to the way that, like, everything looks, the backgrounds and everything just reminds me of the 90s. I say reminds, I wasn't there. I'm just projecting what I think the 90s would feel like, and I feel like Mars really captures that. And even with the outfits, like, everyone talks about Ray's outfits in the manga, which, like, I love Ray's outfits, and he definitely was dripped out, but Kira was also really dripped out. I really liked her outfits as well, especially when they started getting clothes from the neighbor. Ray's neighbor gave Kira a lot of clothes, and she started to really come into her own with her fashion. And also, another little detail I really liked about her character arc is that, like, towards the beginning of the series, she wore her hair in pigtails, but then as it progresses, she ends up, like, taking those out and just wearing her hair out. And I feel like it kind of shows that she's breaking out of her innocence, like, not even innocence, but like just her shell that she's created for herself. She's breaking out of it and starting to come into her own, and I really enjoyed that. Like I said, Kira, I really, really liked her character. Like I kind of touched on before, the drama was really drama-ing in the series. Like, it was up to the max. Like, there was just so much layers to everything, like from Ray's family drama to Kira's family drama to side characters drama. The drama was everywhere. And was it a bit over the top? Yes. But was it quintessentially so shoujo drama? Yes. It was excellent. What can I say? I love a good dramatic story. I will say one character that I have critiques on is Masao, who's like kind of the one I was talking about before. Everything about his character just felt off to me. Like even his introduction, his motive, the ending of his character arc, all of it just felt really weird and oddly timed. I wish he could have gotten more developments, or like at least a little more explanation to some of his actions, because I felt like he was just doing things to stir the pot, which is fine, you can do things to stir the pot, but like it was really out of place considering like the way the rest of the drama unfolded in the series. So yeah, but overall, and then even like the ending of Mars itself I thought was really excellent. Like after everything that happened, they deserved to have like a happy ending, so I really liked it for that. But overall, I really loved Mars, and I would highly recommend it if you are a shoujo enjoyer and you have never checked out Mars. I think you should. If you're somebody who also doesn't really care for the good girl, bad boy types of tropes, I feel like this one does it in a really nice way. So check it out, guys. We have finally made it to the last series of the video, which is going to be the biggest chunk of the video because I wrote a script and it is like 3 pages long. We are talking about Attack on Titan. Yay! I finished reading Attack on Titan. Just a quick recap for those who haven't been sticking around on the channel for any period of time. Basically, my story with Attack on Titan is that I watched the first season of the anime when it came out, and I thought it was good. Like, I wasn't obsessed with it or anything, but I really enjoyed it. I was gonna stay anime only, so I watched the second season. The second season's when I kind of started losing my interest. I felt like a lot of characters were like randomly thrown around, and like I didn't remember anyone from the first season, and then suddenly they're becoming Titans. Like, I just found it odd. So then I ended up dropping it, and like I was very like, because season 2 came out when I was in high school, and like I was around a lot of people who liked anime and stuff, so like I was known for being a hater of Attack on Titan back then. So I was very passionate about my hate for Attack on Titan for quite a while, but recently it has been gaining a lot of traction because the final seasons are coming out, and a lot of people talked about 2 things. First off, Eren enters his villain era, and second thing, that the ending was extremely botched. And both of those things made me extremely curious, so I decided to pick up the manga in order to like swiftly get through the material of the series. And what do you know, I swiftly got through the material of the series. So we're gonna talk about the entire thing now. I think my opinions have not changed very much about it. There are parts that I really enjoyed of Attack on Titan, there are parts that I found quite boring, and there are parts that I thought were just downright awful. And overall, I have very mixed opinions on it. I think I rated it a 7 out of 10, which like I guess is not bad, but usually I rate things, my average rating's like an 8, so it's just a little below average, I guess. But anyways, yes, let's talk about it. I will start with the first thing, which is the characters for me. Like I said, in season 2 when I first watched it, I found it odd that all these random characters were just randomly assigned Titans, and it was really just random. So back then I used to think that the characters were badly written, but now, like, after reading everything, and I feel like I was paying a bit more attention, so like, no, people still definitely came out of left field with their Titan powers still to me, but I think this time, because I was expecting it, like, it wasn't as harsh for me. But instead of the characters being badly written, I want to rephrase that and say that they're not likable. They're well written, they're just not likable. Yeah, I don't know if that's better or worse, but I can't stand half this cast. The first character I will talk about is Krista, or Historia. I thought I was going to like her a lot more than I ended up liking her. I thought her character arc was cool. Like I said, she got character development. I really enjoyed her character arc. She got a full focus in one of the arcs. Like, that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. But something about her attitude just doesn't sit right with me, especially after her arc. Like, she just the attitude she carried, I didn't really enjoy it. I did like this one interaction between her and Eren where they were sitting in the house together, and Eren said something along the lines of like, oh, like, I never really liked you back in training. I thought you were stuck up, like, whatever. But now that you've kind of let go and are not, like, stuck in this box of being what people should perceive you as, like, I really like you now. Is it bad that after that interaction I thought they were gonna be endgame? Yeah. But, yeah, she's unlikable to me. Levi's unlikable to me. I don't know. Again, like, I understand his character development. I understand his backstory. I understand, like, the pressure, the sheer pressure he's under being a part of the Corps. I forget what exactly it's called. The Scouts? The Corps? Whatever. Being a part of that is extremely stressful. All his teammates have literally died. Like, I understand that gives you an immense amount of pressure, but just in general, like, I don't like his attitude. I don't like his personality or his attitude, so that's that. I still can't even tell you what the difference between Reiner and John is. Like, I know that they're different because Reiner is significantly cooler than John, but other than that, like, if you put them in a, like, put them next to each other and ask me to distinguish the two, like, I couldn't tell you. Like, tell my mom I love her, like. And then Berthold, I can't even tell you what he did of importance in the first 50 chapters before suddenly he was a Titan. Like, who was he? Literally, who cares about him? All he does is be annoying and kiss up to Reiner. And, like, on the flip side, I will say I really liked Reiner. He got some really cool character development. I liked his personality, actually. He's probably one of my top 5-ish favorite characters. I have 3 characters that I have positive emotions towards in the series, which we will talk about at the end of my character rant. Next, we're going to talk about Eren, the main guy, okay? I was very, like, lukewarm about Eren from the start. He is our protagonist, and he has basically protagonist traits, you know, like, he's headstrong, he has daddy issues, his parents are dead. Basic shonen protagonist things. I just felt like his personality in general fell flat, so I wasn't really interested in him. And then, you know, his whole flip happens, and it just felt so random. Maybe it's because I didn't like him in the first place. So, like, I was a bit confused, is all. I don't mind him becoming a villain. I was just a bit confused, is all. And I know that, oh, like, he was fated for this to happen to him. They time travel. The attacking Titan is just this all-seeing, powerful, oh sorry, it's not the attacking Titan, I don't know, one of the things he has, the original Titan, the attacking Titan, some Titan, wow, time traveling, it was fate. I don't care if it was fate. Can you make it, like, he could have been a little meaner in the beginning, and I probably would have been able to accept the fact that he turned into who he did turn into, but I don't know. Didn't really like his character from the start, so then when he flipped, I still didn't like his character. And then his Budang, Mikasa, I don't know what's going on with her. She used to be my favorite character. I don't know what happened. I think I was just disillusioned by how cool she looks. But she just became, well, I think she always was too obsessed with Eren for my tastes. Yeah. I think that's everyone that annoyed me. So we can get to the characters that didn't annoy me, and that, we'll start with Armin, who's like one of my favorite characters. Actually, he didn't annoy me quite as much as the rest of the cast, which might come as a surprise. I think more people would be annoyed with Armin than other characters in the series, but yeah, I liked Armin a lot. I kind of liked how he was like one of the more normal characters in the series, considering who his best friend was. His best friend was a mass murderer, but like, yeah. I like how calm he was. I usually enjoy like non-combative, helpful characters in general, so like I thought that was super cool that he was able to provide a lot of help to the team, even though he was not like one of the most physically adept people on the team. And then I just like him and Eren's dynamic and their relationship. That relationship was better written than him and Mikasa, but that's neither here nor there. I really liked how Armin was one of the last people who spoke with Eren in his final little thing in the last chapter. That was a really nice touch. So, and I like how Armin is one of the like main lights, I guess, in Eren's life, especially with him always talking about, oh, they're gonna go to the sea, they're gonna go outside the walls and stuff like that. I really liked when they got outside the walls together, and Armin was there for that, and I thought that was cool. So Armin I like, Reiner I like, and Hanji or Hange, I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to pronounce their name. In the version I was reading, it was Hanji, like Han and then J-I, so it would be Hanji. But then they started typing it as Han-G-E, so that in my English brain, I want to read that as Hange. but I'm gonna say Hanji because I feel like that is what it's supposed to be. They're one of my favorite characters. And then on the flip side, a character that I really disliked, but like I disliked them because they were meant to be disliked, is actually Zeke. I think Zeke was like one of the best antagonists ever. Like, he's actually insane. Biggest snake of the century. Like, whatever he got going on is like, whatever Eren got going on is nothing compared to what Zeke got going on with his daddy issues. Zeke was actually deranged, and it just blew my mind every time that he came on the screen and did something crazy. Gotta respect it. Okay, next we can talk about the plot of Attack on Titan, which I will talk mostly about my enjoyment value with the plot, not really like quality of writing, I guess. My interest did go up and down throughout. Like, I think the more interesting things for me were usually like the battles, like preparing for the battle, going into the battle, the actual battle itself, talking about the strategy, things like that were more of my favorite parts of the series. I won't say that like the choreography of fights themselves in Attack on Titan were like something to write home about, but they were still easy to follow, which is something that I find really important when it comes to reading action shonen series. If they're at least easy to follow, they don't have to be the most spectacular thing in the world, but as long as like I can flow from page to page and know who's hitting what and what's happening, that's all that matters. And Attack on Titan like did that well for me, so I have to give my props for that. And I will say, like, the more lull parts of the series, or like series or the part of the series that always like was less interesting to me was more of like the political dumps. For example, like Krista's arc, I didn't really like. I got a little bored with the like government overthrowing the government part. I didn't really like that arc. One of my big things with the series has always been Eren's basement. That was something that I always just wanted to know what was in there. And so that was like kind of my benchmark. Like, if I got to Eren's basement and I was still interested in Attack on Titan in any capacity, I was going to finish it off. But if I was so disinterested that I wanted to drop it, I was going to drop it. But I was quite disappointed once we got to Eren's basement, and it was just a giant, massive political information dump about a country that has very, very strong similarities to another country that committed a mass murder of a specific race of people on the other side of the world. In Europe specifically, Nazi Germany. It reminds me that the parallels, they were very, very clear. They did not leave anything up to the imagination. Like, everything was ripped straight from the Nazi Germany propaganda. Like, it was insane. A lot of people talk about the Nazi parallelism in Attack on Titan, and I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, military, okay. But then they got to Marley, and I was like, this is literally Nazi Germany. Actually, just Nazi Germany. It's actually insane. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that because I think that there are probably more people out there who are more well versed on this topic that can give you more information. So we're just gonna move on. But I just want to let y'all know that like the parallelism was very blatant. And despite like me being very uncomfortable with the fact that the city was exactly like another city, I actually really enjoyed that part of the story. Like, I really liked when we shifted gears into Marley and followed the like protagonists on that side. Probably because I didn't like Eren that much in the first place. I was actually talking to one of my friends recently about Attack on Titan because I had started reading it, and like we've been friends since high school, so he knew that I was really passionate about disliking Attack on Titan. So I was telling him like, oh yeah, like I bit the bullet, I'm reading it, and he was telling me that he really disliked the part where like they shifted focus off of Eren and started talking about other people, because he was like, Eren's the main character, like why would I care about anyone else? But for me, like, I actually really disagree. I really care about everyone besides Eren. Like I said, I really liked Reiner, so he got a big focus in the Marley arc for obvious reasons, and I really enjoyed that. And I actually don't mind Gabby or Falco. Like, I know Gabby has her opinions, and they're very wrong opinions, but like her character in general I thought was quite interesting, so I was into that. Off topic a little bit, I just want to touch on this one topic that's been irking me. The Cart Titan. Literally the worst Titan out of all of them. The ugliest one. I cannot believe the editors let that one slide. I can't believe it. It's so grotesque. Okay, if we're gonna rank the attractability of the Titans real quick. Obviously, female Titan's number 1. And then Eren, he's number 2. Easily. They're the most like human looking ones, I guess. I'll throw the armored Titan up there. Like I said, Reiner? Yeah. And then I'll say that the Colossal Titan's medium ugly. The Warhammer Titan, I don't remember what he looked like. He's medium ugly as well. The Beast Titan, he's number 2 for ugliest. Ooh. Beast Titan. And Card Titan. I think there was 7, right? Original. Oh, Ymir. Oh, she's pretty medium ugly too. But the ugliest one is the Card Titan, and number 2 is the Beast Titan. After that, it's like medium ugly people, and then the most attractive ones are the female Titan and the attacking Titan, Eren. Him. He's that guy. Yeah. Like, I hate Eren, but like, y'all know the part where he was in the mirror talking to himself? Yeah. He's attractive, what can I say? Anyways, last thing I want to talk about, I'm gonna zoom through this. I was gonna talk about other stuff with it, but I'm just gonna talk about Mikasa and Eren, because like, I was also gonna talk about like Kristen, Ymir, and Armin and Annie, but I'm just gonna talk about Mikasa and Eren because they are actual dumpster fire. Like, I don't understand anything about Attack on Titan, but one thing I don't understand is like their dynamic, because at first I was like, okay, whatever, like Mikasa and Eren, childhood friends, but also like cohabitation, so like I understand, like she has a codependency on him and whatever, and then like they went somewhere, and I think Mikasa said that she thinks of him as family, and then mind you, like she's been obsessed with him this entire time. She's so overprotective over him. She said something about family, and then he said something about, oh, like, I don't even like you for real, like, you're only obsessed with me because you got the Ackerman trait, and Ackermans get obsessed with people, and that's why you're crazy, I don't like you. And then she was like, what the heck? And then suddenly Eren's like, actually, I don't want Mikasa to think about another man for at least 10 years. Like, what's going on? I don't understand. I don't know if they were trying to write like a very tragic romance, but it was tragic in like a derogatory way, like boo, throwing tomatoes. Like, I didn't understand. And I just hated how Mikasa's character, like her character writing was surrounded by Eren. Like, I know that shonen series love to characterize their women by men, but like it was really bad for her. I'm sorry, girl. I would have never done you like that. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll just say that I wouldn't have made it through it if I didn't enjoy it in some capacity. Like I said, I was always a big hater of Attack on Titan, but at the end of the day, if it wasn't compelling or interesting in any way, I would not have pushed through 138 chapters of it. Like I said, there's a lot of parts that I thought were really good, specifically like Reiner and the Marley characters. I really liked the Jaeger family dynamic, and like the whole story surrounding his father was really interesting. Like I said, I have my favorite characters, Armin, Hanji. I like Sasha, I didn't mention her. Reiner, I already talked about him. Yeah, I like all of them. Annie, oh yeah, I like the whole, like that trio of like Reiner and Annie. I really like them. But there was also just a lot of ass pulls that happened. Like the whole time traveling thing, I don't enjoy. I don't like fate type of things. I find it odd. So that threw me off. But like all in all, like Attack on Titan wouldn't be as popular as it is if it wasn't good in some capacity. And I'll never be able to deny that fact. So I don't want people to think that I just shat on it for 20 minutes because I hate it. I ultimately do enjoy it. And that's Attack on Titan. I'm sure I don't have to recommend it because it is extremely popular. Okay, I spoke for a lot of time for this video, but we have reached the end. Yay! Attack on Titan. Finally, I've talked about it. I've gotten it off of my chest. But that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you've been reading recently, or let me know any thoughts of series that I have talked about in the video, and subscribe for more of me. I will soon bring the manga reading logs in a monthly fashion instead of a giant info dump at the end of the semester. So, thanks for watching.